Gar al-Nad. Granada is also known as Gar al-Nad. It was founded by the Tunisians, as I told you. Tunisian tribe that came from Tunis, came to aid the followers of the family of Al-Mansur ibn Abi Amr. They were responsible for the civil war to be won by Al-Mansur ibn Abi Amr. And in return, he gave a piece of land to these Berbers in what is now Granada. They came to Granada. There was a small Roman city called Elvira, a few kilometers far away, like 7 kilometers far away. And so they came and they established in Granada. They established the city walls. The city was, the city walls are these walls. It's the first wall of the city of Granada. So time passed. The Muluk al-Tawaif came, the petty kingdoms came, that period of time of the small kingdoms. Then we have the Almoravids and the Almohadun that came from Morocco. And then I told you, remember, the Almohadun, they had a big defeat against the Christians, and then they decided to go back to Morocco. So Sevilla was abandoned, and in that period of time is when Mohammed bin Yusuf bin Nasser, the founder of the Nasri dynasty, decided to conquer several cities in the southeast of Spain. He conquered Granada, he conquered Malaga, Almeria and Murcia. And with these 4 cities, he marched as a triumphant leader to Granada. And he was proclaimed the first Sultan of Granada, what was going to be the last Islamic kingdom of Spain. So with this information, I think we can go in at the Alhambra. Another thing that I haven't mentioned, it's not called Alhambra Palace. In the Arabic word, it was called Al-Medinatul Hamra, the Red City. The Red City or the City of the Reds. Because there is a small, apparently very recently, they have discovered that the Alhambra wasn't red. It was rendered with plaster and it was white. So it wasn't the Red City then. It was called the City of the Reds. Why? Because the tribe that was ruling, Mohammed bin Yusuf bin Nasser, belonged to a tribe called Banu Ahmar. Banu Ahmar is the tribe of the Reds. They were called like that because they used to dye their beards with animals. Were very pale people, like the skin was very white, and they had a very reddish beard. You'll be able to see there's a painting of them inside the last palace that we're going to visit. And so it's pretty interesting to have these facts in mind. Okay, I think with this information we can start going. We're gonna go visit first the Sama Palace Garden, and from here we're gonna go back this way and then enter to see the Nasri palaces, and then we can see the gardens in the Medina, inshallah. Sama Palace Garden. Alhambra Palace Garden, in Arabic, Jannat al-Arif, the paradise of the architect. The first thing you need in order to build a city, even probably before food, is water. With water, there is no way to build a city. No water, no life.
So this runs down from Granada?
Exactly. This is actually, as I told you, there is a river that cuts Granada in half. River Darro, and it's 100 meters below. But here we can see the same river flowing, 100 meters running down. How is that possible? It's running there, but then it's here over here. Few of them were private, and they were even able to build things like a watch. A watch that gives you the time of the day using the pressure of the water. We're gonna see that once we go inside. They were able to do magnificent things, even things that we cannot see nowadays, like toys for the kids of the Sultan that were moved with water pressure, things like that. And we're walking towards the in between. There's these 3-4 terraces that they are trying to recreate as they used to be back in the time of the Muslims. They found a document called Kitab al-Filaha fi Khusul al-Himra, which means the farming book of the Alhambra. And in that book there is about 300 species described of herbs, fruits, vegetables, different kind of trees that were present in the Alhambra and were used for different purposes. So they are trying to revive all that agricultural heritage. You can see the pomegranates, small version of them, because normally pomegranate is a very big tree, but here they keep them like bonsais.
You can pluck them.
The pomegranate when doesn't have roots to grow, it grows more like a bonsai. You have, here in the winter, this is very good. And here to the left, you have the garden, we call the gardens of the green walls. All these walls are made with using cypress. And they are shaped with walls. So when you go inside, you'll see it's more like a European looking like garden. They still use flowers and herbs from the Islamic period, but the setup is very European. This has been completely restored in the 19th century. The first thing that they had to do is actually regain the property, as the Alhambra, believe it or not, 102 years ago, it was pretty abandoned. It wasn't used. There was people living in the surrounding area. There was the higher garden, the Summer Palace garden was completely destroyed. It belonged to a Italian family. There was garden, also Alhambra, once the Granada saw the jewel, the diamond that they have here in the city, they started to pay attention to it, and it was actually thanks to an American writer. I don't know if you heard of Washington Irving. He came to Granada and he lived in the Alhambra. One of them was Tales of the Alhambra, that became Tales of the Alhambra, so the chance of making money. So they created the foundation, Patronato de la Alhambra, and they started to buy these properties, and then finally, what we are visiting today, all of it is controlled and managed by this foundation. Next to the city, they are like embedded into the city wall, and then you can also see the city of Granada. And then you can also see the Albaicin borough. Albaicin borough or district is the oldest neighborhood of Granada. There's houses there from the 14th century. And this borough that was founded by the people that migrated from Baza. Baza. Try to recreate them in the earth. So that's why you have places like this. It's called Jannat al-Arif, paradise of the architect. Yes. Al-Arif is the person.
And he can relate it to.
You see that the sultans of Granada, they were very pious. They were always inspired in the Quran, and they always use the Quran to.
And it needs to be, now.
Allama Iqbal. He actually prayed in the Cordoba Mosque.
Yes, I did.
And his poem is translated into Spanish. This in a frame, is framed inside the City Council of Cordoba. It's in the hall. You go to the City Council and you can see his poem to the right.
So I looked it up.
To have a more tranquil place to come and chill and relax a little bit, because I mentioned that before, used to be a city, entire city. It got very crowded. So the sultans needed something more private, and that's why the family can live here and then we can come back to it. ¿Se puede llevar en brazo el carrito? No. It's a symbol of a key that they put in most of the gates on top. This one is completely destroyed and renovated, so we don't see the symbol of the key. Nasri style. Nasri style is to keep the water always very low, so you can hear the stream of the water, but it's not noisy, it's not annoying. Now, this is more like the Europeans, they did this, they put their pumps, and now the water becomes quite noisy here. So from here we have a very good picture, but we have to wait for these students to move. And I think you can go sometimes. The balcony of Ismail. Balcony of Ismail was built by him, as well as the entire Alhambra Palace garden. And here we can see the layers of the Alhambra. I mentioned before. You can see one layer, second layer, third layer. So every time there is a new sultan, they won't build. Most of them they won't build something new. They will just replaster the walls with poems dedicated to how do you say, to praise themselves, you know, more or less, because it was a very common thing during the Sultan period to have a katib, al-katib al-am. The Alhambra has three main katibs or writers. You have Ibn al-Khatib, Ibn Jajab, and Ibn Zambrak. So the Sultan will always make sure to have a very good person, a very good spokesperson to his right hand side. And that was the case of Ibn al-Khatib. وَلَا غَالِبَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. Allah is the only one that brings victory. And that's the Nasari motto. And that's repeated over 9,000 times in the entire complex of the Alhambra. The victorious. And he was very humble, so he said, no, the only victory is granted by Allah. وَلَا غَالِبَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. So it remained as the Nasari motto, and it's in the shield. It's embedded in many different places. Yeah, we can see. One of the very few places where we can read the Kalimatu Shahada is here. La ilaha illallah, Muhammadan Rasulullah. La ilaha illallah, Muhammadan Rasulullah. It's written in both columns and in the same column in both sides. And then here as well we can read the Ayat al-Kursi. Here. Yeah. La ilaha illallah, and in the other column, Muhammadan Rasulullah. And if you come inside the hall, of course you have the balcony, which gives you spectacular views to the Albayzin Borough. And if you look to the walls, you also be impressed by the decoration. So you have to imagine all these palaces very colorful. The Nasai, they like the colors, especially red, green, gold, black. Ayahs from the Quran to get protected from the evil eye. Ayat al-Kursi, the Mu'awadat, the three pools, we're going to find them in the last palace. I don't hear many guys talking about this. It's the name of Allah. And where is it? If you look at the calligraphy, you see that you have the Nasari motto, Wala Ghaliba illallah, very clear. Inside there is, in the Arabic technique, is a sakhrafa wa tawriq. A sakhrafa is the art of making the holes, and a tawriq is the decoration of the leaves. Waraqa is leaves in Arabic, a tawriq is putting leaves in to fill up the blanks. And if you look at the leaves, you look very close at the leaves, what can you read? No, you can read the name of Allah.
Yes,
Allah,
yes, yes,
Allah,
yes, yes.
Allah, 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 Allah. Like all the leaves are
Praising
the membrane, the name of Allah. Over. And here you see it's a bit noisy. It's a bit noisy. That's from that fact you can know that it's an adaptation by the Europeans and the more European looking garden. But here we can see a couple of and a little bit of the channeling and the aqueduct and the tunnels that they built. Apparently this tree was here during it was a witness of the Islamic period. So that's why they are trying to preserve it. When I was a student in Granada, it was still alive. Apparently, it's completely dead now. And apparently, also this tree was a witness of a plot against the last Sultan of the Alhambra.
And the waterfall, the valley.
No, the Alhambra Palace is on the city wall.
Okay.
You see the city wall of the Alhambra?
Yeah.
All the roofed houses. All the roofed houses. You have the fortress over there, which is flat, and then you have the houses with roof. Gates of the Alhambra. That's called the gates of the 7 floors. De los 7 suelos, because it was very low. And we can also see a white town in the distance. That white town was its origins was a military camp set by the Catholic kings when they came and conquered Granada. So the technique was they said, we don't need to do any fighting. We just siege the city, and when they are starving, they will come out and surrender. They came in the spring, and they settled the military camp over there. And for 6 months, the 6 months passed, the winter came, and still they didn't achieve anything. It was like, what's going on? They didn't achieve anything at all. So the queen got so upset that she said to the army, remove the tents, build a proper house, because this is going to take long. And that's the big origin of that town over there. It's called Santa Fe, the Holy Faith. And she designed it with the shape of a cross. The head of the cross had a church, and that cross is facing the Alhambra. He was obsessed with conquering the Alhambra. And
So the Muslims were here.
the Muslim was here.
this was
So
the-
you can imagine, they came in 1482. Granada fell in anybody knows? 1492. 1492.
So 10 years.
10 years.
1482.
So for
They
10
had to
years,
stay 10 years on the other side.
they were in the other side 10 years. Imagine you are a Muslim here, you see the army over there. You don't know what's going to happen. Is the Sultan going to surrender? Are you gonna go to do jihad? What's gonna happen? So it was a very tense period of time. And finally, an event happened. They had in this time there was also a lot of fights, small battles. And in one of these battles, they captured the son of the Sultan.
Oh.
And so with that, and also the plague that was destroying the city, a black plague, a virus.
Okay.
It was and that was destroying the city, and also the army. But the city, they didn't have resources to treat themselves, and they were confined. So the Sultan thought, in order to preserve the dignity of my people, I will surrender. So he used this gate, secretly escaped the 1st of January of 1492, and he made a treaty with an agreement with the Catholic kings. Said, I will surrender, but these are my terms. And the terms, there is a long list, you can Google it. The letter of Ibn Abdullah is translated to different languages. And he was describing the rights that he wanted to be preserved of the Muslims. First one, important for them, was the economy. No extra taxes for my people. Then, of course, the institution. You will leave alone my institutions, masajids, fuqahas, the hammams, madrasas. All of these Islamic facilities will be respected. Also marriage, graveyards, also the Sharia law will be still standing there. So there's something typical in the back, that every religion, they judge themselves. If you are a Muslim, you are judged through the Muslim code. If you are Christian, you are judged through the Christian code. So the Catholic king said, okay, we like your agreement, but the only condition from us is that you and your family and your army, you have to leave. What do you say in Arabic for wine? Khamr. Babul Khamra or Babul Hamara. Hamra is the red gate, Khamra is the wine. So it's probably a mistranslation, or most likely it was because during the Christian period, the wine was traded in this gate. So therefore the confusion maybe. In here we can see the symbol of the key I mentioned before very clearly. And in top of it we can see an inscription. In that inscription is the 3 first ayahs of Surah Al-Fatih. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم صلى الله على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن second row you can read إن second row إنا فتحنا لك فتحا مبينا ليغفر الله ما تقدم من ذنبك وما تأخر ولينصرك الله نصرا عزيزا. Last ayah says Nasran Asisa. Nasr. What's the name of the dynasty? Nasr. So they didn't choose these ayahs for randomly. Al-Fatih is the opening. What do you have under the opening? The keys. What do you have behind the key? The gate. So Quran, basically the metaphor here is the Quran is the key to open the gates for Jannah. What do you have inside? Jannah. Recreation of Jannah in earth. So that's the metaphor behind the gate, which I think is a very beautiful metaphor. Through the other gate. here the bags. The bags, we keep the bags in the front. Compulsory to have the bags in the front. Because of everybody wants to take the pictures from the center of this patio. When you are at the center of the patio and you look towards the palace of Yusuf I, the palace of Comares, as is known in Arabic as well, the palace of Comares. When you look at it, you see for the first time they started to implement the concept of symmetry and the concept of the golden rule, developed by Phidias. Phidias, the P number, the Phi number. It was developed by Phidias in Greece, and it was what they call the golden bracket. And then also the palace of the Fountain of the Lions. So the palace of Comares was built by Yusuf I, or Yusuf the Wise, and it is the highest still standing Mediterranean palace. It's about 56 meters from the top to the bottom, 2 floors down as well. In total is 56 meters. And we can also see other elements like numbers. Number 7 was very liked by Muslims. It's a spiritual number. And we'll see the number 7 in the outside, the number of arches. 3 arches to the right, 3 arches to the left, and 1 central larger arch. This is a pond. This is a 26 meters pond, 1.5 meters deep, and here you can see what I was talking about, the stream of the water. Here it's not very noisy. We visited the Granada. It's a palace. The fountains there were quite noisy. It's a European style palace. Here this is still Nazarene style. The water comes close. You can hear the stream of the water. It doesn't really interfere. First, the setup will be the throne. The throne, which was a very simple throne, will be located in the center of the room. A simple throne like the chair that you can see on the left, a little bit more decorated with tarafea, and will be located in the center of the room. And the ambassadors or the visitors that come to meet the Sultan, they will stand on the side. And of course, when they come to meet the Sultan, they will keep the room quite dark, and they will open the curtains behind the Sultan. When the people look at the Sultan, the light will come into the eyes. They will look down. It's a way to keep them humble. This is just some kind of techniques. Remind you are an ambassador and you are standing here. You read to your side. من حسن كلامه وجب إكرامه. If you are going to talk very gently. Remember you're in front of the Sultan. It was done wrongly. Then when you look at the palace, to the top is the most amazing part of the palace, is the ceiling. Always the woodworkers were the most knowledgeable people and the most skillful people. They made this in 9,793 pieces of wood and assembled them into what you can see, what it looks like a representation of the universe. The different galaxies, a groupation of stars distributed into will be a representation of the universe. And it's as I was saying, they did it in 7 layers. And why did they do it like that? Because when the Sultan was about to build the palace, he asked his writer. Remember, the writer is the most important person for the Sultan, Ibn al-Khatib, and he was like, give me an ayah from the Quran that can match my palace. So after a while, he came back and said, I think Surah Al-Mulk is going to be the best one. So the first ayahs of Surah Al-Mulk are written in the Arabic in the first row of the wood. And in the Surah Al-Mulk, what is talking about the 7 heavens. Sabah samawatin tibaqa. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the small circle in the center will be Sirat al-Muntaha, the closeness to Allah. It was called Ar-Riyad al-Sa'ida, the happy garden. that this is the last addition that was made into the Alhambra. So remember the palace we visited in Seville, Palace of Peter the First. Come closer and then leave some space behind, please. The Palace of Peter the First was built after the Palace of Yusuf. Yusuf's son, Muhammad V, was a very good friend of Peter the First. You know how Muhammad V came, I don't know if your guide told you when we were in Seville, but apparently Peter the First helped Muhammad the V to become the Sultan of Granada. When he was about to become the Sultan, his uncle started to kill all the members of his family, so he ran away to a fortress in Jaén. And one day, while being there, he received a box. He opened the box and he found the head of his uncle with a letter saying, "Now you can go back to your palace." And so it was a job done by Peter the First. So Muhammad V, in a way to show his thanks, said, "What do you want?" He said, "It's very well known that your palaces are the most beautiful palaces in Spain. I would like to have one like yours." We said, "Okay." He sent the workers, and along with the Spanish workers, they built the palace for Peter the First in Seville. It's a Nasari palace. It's not Mudéjar style as your guide told you that, it's Nasari style. He has a different approach. He said, if I can show that they can build another palace, they will think that I'm still very strong. So that's what he did. When he started to build the palace, a Jewish person, Jewish family, said, "I'm going to give you the masterpiece for your palace." And they sent this fountain with the lions. Fountain with this lion that you can see in the middle is a present by the family, Jewish family. This fountain is actually a watch. I told you that there was a watch in the Alhambra. It's 6 lions and 6 lioness. And every hour, one lion will be giving water. At the end of the 12 hours, the system with a siphonic system will reboot and start over again. So you know what time is it just by looking at the fountain. This what I'm saying is explained in a very nice visual video. I can send it to you. But that's what was it. It was so big and so heavy. They have to do walls. Some gates to bring it into the palace. It was built by Mohammed in the 15th century. The beginning of 15th century. End of the 14th century. One room to the right, one room to the left. This room to the right, it was a very small room, like most likely dining room or dinner room. As I said, it was tiny. It was basically to admire the new architectonical style that was introduced into the city, and it's this dome. When you look at it, it's like the inside of a bee house. And it is called Mokharabs. The Mokharabs. It's like it was a Persian influence in the architectonical style of the Nasari Persian style. For the hunting. So it's a day of hunting. And in the next one, we can see something. I need to look it up. And that's what is looking like a meeting of Shukru. It's actually a representation of the 10 sultans from Muhammad I until Muhammad II. These 10 sultans. They are represented up there. You see there some with the white beard, some with the red beard. You see them wearing the jineta, which is a sword made especially for the sultans. It was made in Toledo. And you can see also the clothes that they are wearing. One of them is red and green, which are the colors of the Granada flag. It's a gift, that's why that is.
Esta es la mezquita, por favor. Dame la bolsa y yo te lo...
History is like a biryani, like a layer cake, like a cheese cake. You've got layers of history. Okay, you've got ground floor in the pre-Islamic period. Before the Muslims came in, ground floor was down there. This is only the tip of the iceberg of the group of churches I was talking about from the Visigothic period. Okay. And then the Muslim came Paris, later today you will go to Medina Sara. In Medina Sara you will see the lower walls painted red. And that red color used to be the original. You will be crying of emotion. In that poem, he uses a super beautiful metaphor comparing these countries with Syrian palm trees. Syrian palm trees. This is the end of the mosque, built by Abu Rahman al-Bahiz. Okay? Do you have Qibla application in your cell phone? Yeah. I want you to tell me with your right arm. Okay, stop. Don't move. Don't move. Don't move. I want you look at me and him. Please keep your arm. This building. Look at the angle described by my arm and his arm. This mosque was built like this. Please, no videos. No. Remember what I said before in the video?
This one.
Super important. I wouldn't do anything offensive to you, but you have to answer. Let's get together here. You have to forgive me for my mistakes. Remember, no videos of this, especially with the ladies. So, can you say the two sentences on the top? I go back to my school days, exam. You are the teachers, I'm the young students. In silence, you listen to me. At the end of each one, you do like this. If I pass the exam, give me time. I will stay on the side. I want you to pay attention to see that. Can you see the upper fantasy on the top? The upper one is super high. Listen to me and tell me if I did this.
del antiguo Italia estaban controlados.
Alhambra. Okay. This is it. Sorry for my mispronunciations.
Translation.
Does it say?
Translation is okay.
This is it. The second sentence on the top. Second sentence. Surah Al-Hashr. Al-Hashr. Chapter 59, verse 23. Follow me and you will see the sentence. You need to read it. Isn't it beautiful? Isn't it beautiful? They destroyed arches, but not, they didn't destroy it, they took care of it. They used the money of your tickets in the restoration of it. Can you see this scaffold? You know? Isn't it fantastic? Look at my map for 1 second. This is from here, in that direction, is the blue part. The last extension was built in this direction. Why? Because behind you got the river. There is a river behind. There was a palace on the other side. So the last extension was built in this direction. I doubled up the price and I give him another house elsewhere. If you say 2 million, I give you 4 and another house elsewhere. One by one, he was expropriating the houses. Until he ran into the house of a grumpy lady. The grumpy lady said, "My house is not for sale. Forget about that." "Why not?" And she said, "Because I fall in love with this small palm tree growing in the garden of my house." This is this. Family, they didn't destroy the entire building as in Sevilla. They destroyed only this part in the middle and this to do the main altar. Everything became a church, but the physical transformation was very friendly. They destroyed this part, it's big, but they didn't touch an inch of the ayahs of the Quran. They just the opposite, they took care of it. You saw it. And now, family, let's go across. This is the place where they were celebrating the Mass. Can you remember the music you were saying in the beginning? This was a place. Big difference. Treatment of life. Islam and Catholicism is life.
Isso são 35, mas do dia 35 metros.
Many centuries, they destroyed arches, pillars, but they didn't destroy the Quranic inscriptions of this one. The million-dollar question, why here? I don't know. They wrote the Shahada only in this pillar. And that one is from Surah Al-Talaq. وَمَنْ يَتَوَكَّلَ عَلَى اللَّهِ فَهُوَ حَسْبُهُ. If anyone puts his trust in Allah, sufficient is enough for him. This is the million-dollar question, family. And now Yusuf is
No, I can't because I can't see it.
What's the importance of this?
Well, this is the first royal city built in Al-Andalus by Muslims. And it was built in the beginning of the 10th century by the first Khalifa of Al-Andalus.
Medina Zara, yeah?
Medina di Zahra, or the brilliant city. Way bigger. Palace, that was a palace only. This was an entire city. And what we're about to see is only 20% of the actual size of it. The excavation, it was only 20%.
A mediados del siglo X, el Califato Omeya de Córdoba era uno de los estados más poderosos de la época. Embajadores de todas partes acudían ante el califa para ofrecer su obediencia o su alianza. Escoltados por la Guardia Palatina, recorrían el camino de apenas 6 kilómetros que desde Córdoba les llevaba a la ciudad donde residía el califa. La ciudad donde su poder se hacía patente. Medina Azahara. Isla de Pájaro. Cerca de Córdoba al oeste. Cerca del Guadalquivir al norte. Cerca de la sierra al sur. Un emplazamiento exacto. Allí donde la montaña se hace valle. Un enclave privilegiado sobre la llanura del río. Un lugar que nunca era de paso, sino de visita obligada. Nada dejó al azar el califa Abderramán III. Las obras, iniciadas en torno al año 936, terminaron una década después. Demasiado opulenta, en opinión de algunos, demasiado codiciable en la imaginación de muchos, la ciudad apenas sobrevivió 80 años. Construida sobre diversas terrazas, la parte más alta de Medina Azahara quedó reservada para el alcázar. Administrativas, los grandes salones de recepción y sobre todo la residencia privada del califa, la llamada Dar al-Mulk, la morada del poder. El califa dominaba la ciudad y el territorio, una presencia física, pero también una referencia espiritual como comendador de los creyentes, representante de Dios en la tierra, guía de la comunidad musulmana. O Aljama de Medina Azahara se encontraba en el otro extremo del alcázar. La Aljama es una de las 3 mezquitas que existían en Medina Azahara. Su construcción es similar a la mezquita de Córdoba, con un gran alminar desde el cual el almuédano llamaba a la oración a los creyentes. En una ciudad llena de burócratas y servidores, a la mezquita acudían las gentes para realizar las 5 oraciones rituales que marca el dogma musulmán. Su imponente presencia recordaba siempre el liderazgo religioso del califa. Pero también era lugar de reunión de ulemas y alfaquíes, sabios y juristas que conocían las disciplinas religiosas y el derecho musulmán y que emprendían largos viajes a Oriente para aprender allí de los grandes maestros que conocían la tradición islámica. El califato, Medina Azahara estaba protegida por una potente muralla con torres. Menos 4 puertas en las que desembocaban los caminos que venían desde Córdoba, reservada para recibir los aprovisionamientos que diariamente necesitaban los habitantes del alcázar. Porteadores y visitantes entraban en la zona de servicio del alcázar, con algunas partes cubiertas y pasajes iluminados artificialmente. Una rampa servía para comunicar entre sí las dos terrazas superiores de la ciudad. Que se dirigían a las distintas estancias dentro del palacio. Un lugar conocido como espacio trapezoidal se situaba en la encrucijada central del Alcázar. Allí se reunían y descansaban los soldados antes de ser enviados a sus destinos en diferentes puntos de la ciudad. Una escalera también permitía salvar el desnivel entre las dos terrazas. Dos grandes edificios de planta cuadrangular abiertos a amplios patios. Las viviendas de servicio atendían las necesidades de los principales habitantes del Alcázar: el califa, sus mujeres, su heredero y los grandes dignatarios. Los sirvientes llevaran alimentos o bebidas a un lado o a otro, ya que en estos almacenes y despensas se centralizaba buena parte de la intendencia del Alcázar. Perfectamente visible, preparaba las comidas que después llegaban a las mesas de los grandes personajes. Ellos formaban un mundo distinto. El gran chambelán del califa Al-Hakam II. Su gran portada, ricamente decorada, posee una enorme puerta cuyas hojas permanecen cerradas hasta el momento en que el dignatario concede audiencia a agentes que pugnan por obtener un solo instante de su tiempo. Una burocracia muy compleja que se extiende por todos los rincones de Al-Hambra, donde ejercen gobernadores enviados desde Córdoba. Las salas donde Jafar concede sus audiencias y despacha sus asuntos están claramente separadas de su propia residencia. Vive solo y que tiene a un cierto número de personas que trabajan a su servicio. Distintas habitaciones que se abren a pequeños patios en los que predomina un pavimento de mármol violáceo muy extendido por otras zonas del Alcázar. Era la llamada vivienda de la alberca, tal vez la más suntuosa del palacio. Dos portadas de herradura se abrían a un jardín interior regado por una alberca que dotaba al conjunto de una exquisita armonía. No solo era el lugar de residencia del califa, también constituía un colosal escenario de poder, situada al oriente de la ciudad. Este pórtico se abría a una explanada donde se celebraban las paradas y los grandes alardes que precedían al envío de las expediciones militares y que eran inspeccionados por el califa en persona. Los estandartes rivalizaban en vistosidad y sometidos a una rígida jerarquía, estos ejércitos eran despachados en expediciones dirigidas contra los reinos cristianos o el norte de África. Servía también de entrada a las embajadas que eran siempre recibidas con grandes honores. A Medina Azahara acudían con gran frecuencia emisarios llegados desde los reinos cristianos o desde el norte de África o desde el Imperio Bizantino o el Imperio Germánico. Todo un ceremonial se disponía entonces para mostrar al embajador el aparato del poder califal, sobrecogido entre los muros de la ciudad de la que tanto había oído hablar y que ahora veía por primera vez. Una lengua árabe que no entendía y para la que necesitaba de traductores, que por lo general eran clérigos, llegaba por fin a un gran patio al que se abría uno de los principales edificios de la terraza alta, un lugar solemne donde se reunían los principales cargos de la administración califal. El embajador era recibido con grandes muestras de hospitalidad. Estancias de un edificio cuyas grandes proporciones daban al embajador la idea de haber llegado por fin al lugar donde le recibiría el califa. El estricto ceremonial imponía al embajador una larga espera hasta que por fin llegaba la orden de dirigirse al lugar donde se encontraba el califa, donde se celebraban las grandes audiencias y las grandes recepciones. En el que se encontraba un amplísimo jardín regado por las aguas de 4 albercas que rodeaban un suntuoso pabellón. Era invitado entonces a dirigirse al edificio donde el califa se manifestaba salón rico. Podía compararse a la visión que ahora se abría ante sus ojos. Solo entonces, de haber obtenido permiso para dirigirse a Medina Azahara, de haber entrado en la ciudad palatina sintiéndose confundido y admirado, solo entonces, entre columnas y capiteles exquisitamente labrados, entre arcos que alternaban rojo y blanco, entre decoraciones vegetales, todas aparentemente iguales, todas diferentes, solo entonces el embajador se encontraba finalmente cara a cara con el señor de aquel lugar, con el personaje